we break or it's up to you, no?
I usually do, please.
After what, how long would you?
10, 15.
15?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me 15 then.
And then come back and wrap it up after. We got about 26, 27 minutes. Hello and welcome. I know that you're probably wondering, is this Capital Times? Well, it's not. Channel 10 likes to offer service to our community whenever there's something good going on. We like to let you know about it so that you can become involved. This week is the Hospice, now I'm not sure if I'm saying this word right, Palliative Care Week here in the Kootenays, and it goes from April 5th till April 11th. And with me in the studio to tell us more about this week is Paula Nielsen, who is a board member and the education coordinator for the Hospice Society, and also T.C. Carpendale, who is a volunteer with the Hospice Society. So right off the top, perhaps we should talk about what the Hospice Society is, so that people will know what we're talking about when we get into some of the workshops and courses that you're offering this week.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Hospice Society is a society that gives emotional support and spiritual kind of support to people that are dying, mm-hmm. and also to people that are grieving from the loss of a loved one. And they can offer often respite care, like sit with a person who's really sick so that their family gets a break, mm-hmm. And then hopefully follow up with the patient's family after the death, and
yes,
see that they're okay through their grieving.
Well, it's such a sensitive subject. Is it then your goal to make people aware that it's okay to talk about it and deal with these things openly?
Yeah, that should be one goal of the society, to allow people to think of death as part of life, as mm-hmm. it is one stage of life. And mm-hmm. A lot of people don't do that, and you know, it's not an easy thing to go through with your family, and there should be someone there to help, and mm-hmm. that's what we are basically.
Okay.
Compassion, offering some compassion, and just someone to talk to about what you're going through. And
how long then has the Hospice Society been going on in our area? I know that it's been prevalent around the country for some time. Is it new, or?
1985, I guess, was when they started here. Mm-hmm. And I think it's become a lot stronger over the last 3 or 4 years. It's quite a large group now.
I think 87 was the first year that a proper training was organized.
Now, as a volunteer, TC, how long have you been with the Hospice Society?
Since that first training.
Yes.
And well, we had a big group then, and then it dwindled, and then mm-hmm. It comes and goes. People do it for a while, and sometimes they move away. Or
mm-hmm. What kind of training then, as a volunteer, do you go through to be equipped to handle this sort of thing?
Well, communication, mm-hmm. so that you're mainly really listening mm-hmm. to what a person wants. A certain amount of care and things that we don't have to do but would like to know about, like pain control.
Yes.
And different cultures, the way they face death.
Well, now that's interesting, because as Canadians, we do tend to treat things a specific way, don't we?
Yes.
And then is it eye-opening to see how other cultures deal with death?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole training is really a training of personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
And I was told after I'd taken the training and worked with hospice for a while that I was a different person and more understanding.
In a positive sense, I gather, yes.
Yes, but well, you understand what other people, you think more what other people are going through. Not just the person that's dying, but the family and the friends.
Do you think that a lot of people are just plain afraid of the whole situation?
It is a frightening thing, isn't it?
Not so much, you know, internalizing it and thinking, well, if it was me dying, but I mean, they're afraid to talk to other people about it. They're afraid to care for friends who are going through that sort of thing.
Yes.
Yes. So the training that you go through equips you to deal with that sort of thing.
Well, it helps you, yes.
Yes. I imagine there's lots that come up that
That you're not prepared for.
Yes. And you do your best, I imagine.
And you learn to know that it's okay to say, you know, I don't really know what to say, but I'm here, you know, and it must be hard for you, and, you know, give them some openings to.
It sounds
to
to me
say
like
what they
listening
can.
is a big part of this.
Yes.
Yes. And do you think that it is therapeutic, therefore, for people to get it out?
Yeah,
about it?
and I think that some people don't really get around to that, you know, by the time you're with someone who's dying, you may just sit there and hold their hand, and they may never ever talk about it. They may have lived that way with denying and putting things away, and that's the way they're going to die then too. So
In
just so
case,
that
your
you
presence.
are there, and just your presence being there,
Yes.
you're there to listen, and they know that if they do have something to say. And probably a lot of people don't really
No.
communicate that much, you know.
It's strange, but you might know that they're dying, but you're never sure if they have accepted it yet.
Yes.
Because you don't know at what point you actually do accept that fact.
Well, let's face it, we're all born and we're all going to die sometime.
Yes.
Yes. Now the week that you're, I mean, obviously it's to make people aware of the Hospice Society. What steps are you taking then to do that? I know that there's lots of courses going on. Should we perhaps chat about some of the things that are going on this week that people could attend?
Sure.
You've just done one. I kind of wanted to know how that went. That was the Living Wills.
That was Living Wills. We had a really good turnout. We had brunch at the Heritage, and we had a doctor, Dr. Reed, did quite a good presentation about, you know, he researched it. Really, living wills are not something you hear too much about or even learn about in medical school or nursing school, but he researched it and presented, you know, a lot of facts about how living wills could be helpful, and you know, we had some copies of different types of living wills, and then Greg Stacy, one of the local lawyers, also spoke about the legal things involved, and it isn't a legal paper per se as of yet, but it's still a helpful thing to be able to do. And yeah, it was quite a successful kickoff event.
That's great.
Quite
But the
pleased
whole
with
point
it.
being then that if you are in a situation where you can't communicate, but you know you still maybe bright inside, but you can't communicate, then this living will would help you out in that way to have your wishes taken
It
care of.
would be something written down that said, you know, if I'm ever in this situation where I'm in a coma and there's no chance of me surviving, please don't keep me alive by certain ways, or, you know, you can have them be more specific or more sort of poetic, you know, more philosophical, but it at least gives the family, it kind of helps them not feel guilt after when they're trying to struggle through these decisions. Should we do this more type of treatment? Should we try this, or is this just causing more discomfort and you know, having mom just hang around for us longer? We don't, if you have an idea what you know your mom would have wanted, then
the turmoil's
I think
not
that
there.
that helps all that turmoil, and of course helps the doctors.
So it's not legal as of yet in Canada, but it is in
it's
in
coming a
other
lot
countries.
more quickly in the United States.
Oh yes.
But and there have been bills you know, have been put up in legislation, but nothing has come of it yet.
Very
It's a
controversial
slow
still.
Because it's controversial, it's a very slow process. Yeah.
That was yesterday afternoon. Did you have any problem with the clocks leaping ahead yesterday? Oh, who
We
said
don't
that?
want to talk about that.
I did. I went through the whole day.
It always takes me by surprise, but
Yes.
someone was there looking after people and phoned me as I was getting ready to get there early,
Right.
and discovered I was already late.
Oh, yikes.
But we started with brunch, and so
Oh, good.
people had got their brunch and sat down. And
Except you. You didn't get your
I
tummy
got
rumbles.
mine later.
Yes.
So it actually went quite smoothly despite the fact that I wasn't on time.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Now you've got many workshops that are going on this week. In fact, there's one this evening, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yes.
This one is called...
Let's talk about some of these.
Tonight it's called Those Left Behind, and it's sort of to deal with grief, but to be more specific, it's talking more about dealing with the impact of people dying suddenly and unexpectedly, and also something about suicide. There's a speaker named Jan Souza who works as a youth coordinator at Mental Health, and she's done a lot of that kind of work. I guess you call it debriefing, where she tries to help people through critical incidents, you know, go into the schools when a young person has committed suicide, and talk to the children, the kids, about how they're dealing with it, what they're feeling, and that helps them initially by talking about it, work through all that.
Is this more informative, or is it actually a workshop so that people who are in this situation, can they go and benefit?
I think that people could. Some of our hospice volunteers will go for sort of further knowledge and training, and then it's open to the public. So I think a lot of people of families that families of people that are sick with terminal illness are going to be attending these workshops, from what I saw yesterday. And
what about those
people that have
behind?
already been through it, you know, that are now going through their grief and feel ready to start looking at what they need to look at.
People deal with it in so many different ways.
Yeah.
I mean, from just shutting up and saying nothing and just keeping it all inside to just going haywire.
Yeah.
So is this a
they will be talking about what it'll be is there's Jan, and then Penny Tees, who is the sort of the founder of the local group of Compassionate Friends, and they're a group that's for parents that have lost children, be they little children or grown children, dealing with that grief, and specifically that both of them will talk, and then there'll be question and answers, and hopefully it will stimulate some good discussion.
That's good to hear.
That's sort of how they're all set up, or the 3 evening ones.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. The next one then, after that, what to say. Now that's a biggie for all of us out there, and it's sort of what we were just talking about.
That's the
how
same.
can you possibly know what, what to say?
I guess it's sort of communication skills, you know, what is not a good thing to say, what will close someone up, and what is a good opening to not force people to communicate, but
just to bring them out,
to give them openings.
Yes.
You know.
And then it's their choice whether they want to discuss it or not. Yes.
And this has to do with talking to someone who's dying also. You know, your sister or your mother. You sort of go, well, what do I say? And I kind of want to say goodbye, or I want to say, is there anything you want done? Or, you know, I want to say that how it's been with us, and, you know, that show love and those kind of things. It's really hard, you know.
Absolutely.
You just you don't know where to start or what's appropriate.
That
and
sounds
I think
like
that's what it'll
very
be
worthwhile
about.
course. The other two, we have to take a break in a minute here, but just to touch on these two before we come back, the cultural perspectives on death, and that's what you were saying about different countries deal with, and probably different religions deal with death differently.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're all human beings. Is it looked at as an eye-opening thing?
Yeah, I think just, learning about how different ways to look at death, and therefore different traditions and rituals around the funeral.
And perhaps give someone another perspective rather than the one that they're having trouble dealing with.
Probably could, yeah.
Good. We're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, we'll discuss some of the other workshops that are going on. There's quite a few of them, so if you'll hang in there with us, we'll be back right after this. We are back, and we are speaking with Paula Nielsen, who is the coordinator, education coordinator for the Hospice Society, and also T.C. Carpendale, who is a volunteer with the Hospice Society. We were just discussing some of the workshops that are going on this week. This is the Hospice Palliative Care Week from the 5th till the 11th. And another thing that we wanted to mention was the workshop, Holistic Healing Therapies in Palliative Care. Whoa, try and say that 3 times quickly. So maybe you could tell us what goes on in that workshop. I imagine you don't need to look at that.
Yeah.
She coordinated it.
Yeah. Well, we're basically talking about some kind of therapies that you can do to help people that are dying and suffering, not with aim of healing, but just for comfort and relaxation. So we have Vicki Allen talking and teaching a little of Reiki, which is a touch therapy, and Sue Ross, who's a therapeutic touch practitioner, teaching the basics of therapeutic touch, and Celeste Crowley, who's a local musician and songwriter, doing something with sound medicine, which is using music and also voice to, and I don't know too much about her work, so I'm going to find that quite interesting.
Yeah.
And then I'm presenting something on meditation and visualization, which can be quite helpful for relaxing, helping people to relax. Especially stuck in bed for any period of time. And then something on massage. And I have a short part of a video that we'll show with Christine Sutherland, who was my teacher. I'm not a massage therapist, but I did the whole body massage course, and so it's just sort of basic massage that you can do with someone.
That sounds really helpful. This is taking place, we should mention, at the Selkirk College here in Nelson, and that is April 11th. That's a Saturday, April 11th, from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. I did want to get this number out for anybody out there who wanted more information on any of these workshops. It's 352-6601, and they do ask that you pre-register for the courses, yes?
Yeah, especially for the day workshop, it's important that if we can have numbers ahead of time. We have had people just coming and registering, and we can accommodate that, but it's much preferable for the college if they do it their usual way. And for Saturday, we're having lunch supplied, so it's nice to let the restaurant know just how many of us there will be.
Who's going to be eating?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, for the whole entire week, TC, you're manning a booth in the mall?
Well, we're taking turns. The volunteers are taking turns.
Yes.
I've been there this afternoon.
And what exactly have you got in the booth? That
books that we have in our library, and videos, and we're playing the videos, and we're selling the
little butterfly
float.
Pins, yeah.
And any information if people want to join.
You also must have information about all the courses and workshops that are happening.
Yes, and if people want to give any donations, we have
donations is always a good idea.
Yes.
Yes, non-profit organizations, and this is a good one.
It's hard to
You bet.
manage all the things we want to do.
You bet it is, yeah. Well, that's good to know then. So don't be shy if you're in the mall and you're interested at all. Just walk over and say hello to TC or whoever else is manning the booth, and I'm sure they'd be glad to give you some information. Also, you were mentioning that there is a grief support group in town, and how would a person go about finding out how to participate or join with that?
Well, we have a hospice office. We just have business hours twice a week, but there's always a phone message you can leave, and that's checked daily, so we can get
good.
back to people. The grief support meets every first and third Wednesday at the hospital.
Right.
And we've had, 3 or 4 people that have been steady comers that are.
Do you find that people they'll attend that sort of a group and get to the point where they feel good about themselves and they're okay with this, and then they don't come anymore? They've dealt with it, and is that the purpose?
That's the purpose, yeah. They can support each other. There's always a hospice coordinator or volunteer there to help with discussion, but after a little while, when there's a cohesive group, they're not so much needed,
Yes.
They're dealing with their own things, but we're always open to new people to come that are in need of that, and there always is someone there to
So
help.
you're always open then to having new people help out with volunteers. TC, this is maybe a difficult question, but I'm wondering how you as a volunteer deal with the death.
Well, I suppose it would be like dealing with a death in your own family, except that it's in your community. So you've sort of enlarged your family in a way.
So the healing process that comes out of the Hospice Society helps you to deal with helping people deal with it.
That's right. That's right. We
Yes.
have regular meetings that are very helpful. And we're a team. We're not just a person that does this.
Yes.
There are other people around you to support you.
So it's not necessarily always one-on-one.
Yes, sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. And if a lot of help is needed, then you may have more than one volunteer working with the same person.
Yes.
Because I think what's expected of a volunteer is 4 hours a week.
That's not a lot of time to have to put in to help
It's
someone.
not a lot of time. It is for somebody like me. I live out of town, you see.
Yes.
So you have to drive and
Travel.
drive back. And also, for some people, it might be nice to see them every day for a short time. And but it depends on the family, what the family and circle of friends can do.
Well, I think that the organization as a whole must be very, very big-hearted and good, warm, giving people. It's a very worthwhile society as far as I'm concerned. And again, they do take donations, and they are always probably looking for some good, solid volunteers on your side. Okay, perhaps we should give that number out one more time for the folks out there.
There's a hospice office number too.
Oh, okay. Do you want to give us that?
It's 352-2337.
Okay. 2327?
2337.
See, I'll just mess you up right away. And the other number to register for the course is 352-6601. So if you're interested or you need to be involved, please don't hesitate to give these people a call. I'd like to thank you both very much for coming on and discussing this with us. It is a little bit of a sensitive subject, but it's very worthwhile getting it out there and letting people know what's going on. Thank you both very much. Okay, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you.